What's the most out of touch thing you heard from rich people? 1. A coworker asked me what bank I used for my safe deposit box. I said I didn't have a safe deposit box. She said, "But where do you keep your jewels then?" 2. While working for a valet parking service in the Santa Barbara area years ago, a woman hired us for a jewelry showing she was having at her giant house in Montecito, and while we were waiting for guests to arrive, my boss informed me that when the guests get in their cars to leave, that I needed to be sure to close their car doors or else they would just drive off with their doors open, as they're so used to people closing their car doors for them. 3. Being told by a guy who has not worked a day in his life and living off of inherited money, that poor people are poor because they don't invest their money right. 4. I needed a bicycle to get to a new job. Found someone online selling a really nice bike for cheap, so got in touch. Took 2 trains to their house to buy the bike, and when I got there it was a mansion. The bike was in a garage full of supercars and classics. They asked me where my truck was to load the bike on. When I told them I was riding the bike home, they laughed, and before I knew it, everyone in the house had been called to the garage to hear how I was riding the bike 3 hours home in the dark. No one offered me a lift, they just acted blessed at how they didn't have to do such things. 5. When they tell me I should just take off and go somewhere for a week. Even if I made the money, I'd be eating the time itself from the no PTO I get. 6. During the pandemic, senior management held company-wide calls about mental health and well-being. One piece of advice always stuck with me. They suggest to stop the tedium of working in the same space, to move your desk to another room in your house. I had a choice between facing different walls. 7. My boss at the time made between 5 to 10 times more than I did. We were talking about big purchases like a car or a house, and he says something along the lines of, "Well, you'll get a great deal since you'd all cash purchaser." I just kind of smile and nod, knowing that, on my salary that he was aware of, I was not even an all-cash purchaser of groceries. 8. How could your family accountant let that happen? When talking about how growing up, we couldn't pay the bills and had our water and electricity shut off multiple times. 9. If you can't afford childcare, just hire a nanny. We love ours. 10. I was between jobs and a bunch of my friends told me that I should take the time to go travel the world. Like, just because someone doesn't have a job, doesn't mean they can just up and travel the world. In fact, the opposite is more likely, but also you idiots thought the reason I wasn't traveling the world was because I hadn't thought of it?